According to Ronald Brownstein, writing in the National Journal, President Barack Obama has shrunk to historic lows in support among blue-collar men. In other words, the Obama support among white men with a college education is the lowest it has been since 1980 and the candidacy of Ronaldus Magnus. A National Journal found this after a study of exit polls from past elections, a recent Quinnipiac Washington Post ABC News. By the way, that Washington Post ABC News poll is devastating for Obama. They're reporting that it's Obama, Romney 47-47, but that poll is devastating for Obama in independents. What is it? Romney is up by 14 in independents in that poll. That same poll, and a couple with this Quinnipiac poll, shows that Obama's support among blue-collar men, white men without a college education is what that means, is at an all-time low. And yet, somehow he's still viable and, in their minds, could likely win this thing. Now, in the Quinnipiac poll, Obama got a 29% support level from non-college white men, 28% in the Washington Post poll. Since 1980, the worst performance for any Democrat nominee among the working-class white men was 31% that Mondale managed against Ronaldus Magnus in 1984. The 39% that Obama got in 2008 was actually the Democrat Party's best showing in the modern era. So it isn't racism. But now he's down to 29-28. He's 10% down. And I hearken back to that Thomas Edsall piece last November and he was Huffington Puffington Post editor, former Washington Post, and he had ties to the Obama campaign and made it clear, pointed out, purpose of the column. Obama has written off white working class families. Now, you would think that these blue collar guys are also union workers. But the way it's delineated, it's not actually the same group of people. Now, the article says these non-college white men represent Obama's largest source of decline in the white electorate since 2008. Now, why would this be? Could it be that these are the kind of people that want jobs? Blue-collar workers want jobs. They don't want a celebrity famous for his vacations and his fundraisers with Hollywood types. They don't want some guy slow jamming the news on Comedy Central or wherever. Now, what they know is that Barack Obama has orchestrated a nearly $6 trillion now added to the national debt, worst recovery after a recession. In fact, we're probably in another one. 41 consecutive months of over 8% unemployment. Is it any wonder Obama would be overwhelmingly unpopular with people that want to work? It's not hard to understand that at all. If you want a job, if you really want to work, if work means something to you, it's how you define yourself. If work is from where you derive your identity, you want to work, Obama is a disaster for you. And now you move to Wisconsin and you see that Obama, he didn't go. He turned his back on blue-collar union workers. Well, they may be white-collar given that they're teachers and state employees. But nevertheless, they're union people. And Obama turned his back on them. He didn't show up in Wisconsin. He tweeted less than 140 characters his support for the Democrat candidate opposing Scott Walker. And what these guys all know is that Obama's got his back, not theirs. Obama's looking out for himself, not them. So the regime lets it be known some time ago that they were not even interested in this voting bloc. White blue-collar vote. And the white blue-collar votes figured it out. Okay, you don't care about us? Well, then, we're out of here. historic lows. Now, folks, I'm telling you, you can't have piling up of news like this. Down 14 points in independence, historic lows among blue-collar men. I'm sorry. I'm not lacking in confidence today, and I'm just telling you that this idea that the route to victory in this country is putting together a coalition of people spending their day in the welfare hammock. It's not a safety net, it's a hammock. There aren't enough of them. I know you live in great fear that there are. I know that many of you think we've lost the country and that there's enough of them. And now, with the regime, if you miss this, the regime is advertising for additional food stamp recipients in Spanish language soap operas. They are creating little novellas, Spanish language soap operas on Spanish TV networks, telling people that it's cool to be on food stamps and how to get on food stamps and then how great life is after you're on food stamps and then how to tell other people how to do it, citizens and non-citizens. So it's clear what Obama's doing. Obama wants to be elected president by the takers. Obama wants to be the president of the non-producers. And I'm here to tell you that our country's not gotten to the point where there are a majority of them. Now, when it comes to turnout, that's a whole different thing. Unemployment news. This is Thursday. Now, normally we would lead on Thursday with the unemployment news. I think it's fascinating here, is not by design, that here we are in the last half hour of the program and I'm getting to the unemployment news. Now, you probably, if you're a liberal Democrat, you think that I'm waiting toward the end of the show because it's such great news. And the way it's being reported is a crime. Here's the AP headline from Christopher Rugaber, who is the media stenographer at AP to report the White House version of this kind of news. U.S. jobless claims plunge to lowest in 4 years. Oh, goody. The number of people seeking unemployment benefits plunged last week to the lowest level in 4 years, a hopeful sign for the struggling job market. But the decline was partly due to temporary factors. Temporary factors? Ladies and gentlemen, would you be interested in knowing? This is ZeroHedge.com. The use of temporary hires is outpacing outright new hirings by a ratio of 10 to 1. Temporary agencies, temporary workers are being hired at a 10 to 1 greater ratio than outright new full-time hires. And that's because of uncertainty. The people doing the hiring don't know what's ahead of them the next 6 months and more, given who wins and who does what. So they don't think they can commit to full-time hires. So they're going the temporary route, 10 to 1 ratio. But back to this AP story. Sadly, and purposefully, I should say, this is a little complicated, but it is a lesson. This is a great lesson in how the weekly jobless numbers are manipulated. The Department of Labor is claiming that the number of people seeking new jobless benefits, unemployment benefits, plunged by 26,000. And the new number for last week was 350,000. And now we're told that that is the lowest level in 4 years. But the real number of new jobless claims actually went up. What is that you say, Rush? That's exactly what I said. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Department of Labor, is claiming the number of people seeking new unemployment benefits plunged by 26,000. The Department of Labor, in their press release, says, and I quote, the advance number of actual initial claims under state programs unadjusted totaled 439,743, an increase of 69,971 from the previous week. So the number of real new claims for unemployment is up by nearly 70,000. It is not down by 26,000. The total number of new claims is really 440,000, not a new low of 350,000, as is reported by AP. Now, the news media never report the actual new claims. I'm not saying that they're doing something they've never done before. They always report the seasonally adjusted estimate, which they've done here. In this case, the seasonally adjusted estimate ignores this nearly 70,000 new claims. It's actually 90,000. It's a difference between the unadjusted number, 439,000, and the seasonally adjusted number, 350,000. So the real number is 89,000 new claims. But then they did the seasonal adjustment. And in the seasonal adjustment, they converted nearly 90,000 new claims. 90 real people. That's 90,000 real people signed up for unemployment. The seasonal adjustment is what and they do this every week. There's nothing new here. It's just never this dramatic. The seasonal adjustment is never this dramatic. So real new claims unemployment, unadjusted, near 90,000, after adjustment becomes a 26,000 plunge in new claims. Now, why is the Department of Labor, why are they cutting their estimate of jobless claims by nearly 90,000? The AP actually explains why in the story. Because this year, some automakers aren't laying off some of their workers this summer. So the Department of Labor has seasonally adjusted the real-life new claims number by ignoring 90,000 real-life claims. It's crazy, to put it mildly, but these are the games they play every week with the seasonal adjustments. So they take the fact that the automobile makers are not laying people off is being counted as new claims, or as plunging new claim. The fact that they're not laying people off as they usually do, we're gonna call that plunges. People normally would go apply for unemployment, but since they're not, then we're going to calculate it as a drop. But the real number is reported in the story, 90,000 new claims. And we'll be back. Don't go away.